Hello again, everybody. We have reached the final section of this episode of Inside the World of Box Lacrosse. It is Humiliate the Host, and I am bringing us in, Stamper, not to humiliate you as my co-host, but I do love seeing those standings in the bottom left corner there. What a phenomenal week of picks, and I think I've proven. I think I've proven to myself that I need to think a lot less about my decisions, and that probably should be for life as well, because things seem to go well when I do that. So,
I like how you say you didn't bring us into this to humiliate me as the co-host, but you didn't mention about not humiliating me as your vanquished rival in the in the picks. So no, congratulations to you. I was going to lead us in and say congratulations, Adam had a great week and won it, but no, you were determined that you would be leading this.
I think I just defined the definition of humble, or was it the antonym of humble?
I was going to say, I don't know. Whatever. I've had enough of you, Levi, for now. Let's pick next week.
Well, yeah, it's look, it was a phenomenal weekend of action, but we've got 4 great games ahead of us this weekend. Like we've been outlining during this show, and what we've been kind of alluding to over the past few weeks is that we just have no idea who's going to be winning any of these games. There's no one for certain. So, Stamper, do you want to kick it off with that lone Friday night game, the Buffalo Bandits and the San Diego Seals?
Yeah, and the thing going into this is 3 of these games, I believe it's 3 of these games in the lower seed in this game has beaten the higher seed during the regular season.
Yeah.
So there are no sure things, including, Buffalo and San Diego had that incredible home and home series in the season, week to week, where they're in Buffalo the one week, then San Diego the next, or vice versa. And they were great games. Both, one went to overtime, the other comes down to a goal. Like, they were excellent games. This is no 1 versus 8 gimme. San Diego is going to be a real challenge for Buffalo. You saw Buffalo last week lose against Georgia, but they had first place locked up. Georgia had a ton to play for, and Georgia was obviously the hungry team in the fourth quarter. I don't know. And speaking of Georgia, of course, Buffalo went to overtime with Georgia in the first round last year. So anything can happen. I am going to take Buffalo because it's hard to imagine the 2-time defending champs losing the first round. Although in some ways it's more realistic to see them losing the first round than when they have a 2 out of 3. So
I think that's a fair point. Also, once they get rolling in those sold-out playoff atmospheres in Banditland, that momentum will also continue to build. So in that one and done, it's huge. And, what we saw from San Diego with their fight against Albany, shows how, potent they can be, plus the games earlier. I'm a little nervous to be showing up to this game in Buffalo on Friday, only after Albany beat San Diego in Albany a couple of weeks ago before the final week of the season. I did say that Albany would make it to the playoffs, which meant at the time that San Diego would not be in the playoffs, and then we have to go face them. So I hope they're not mad at me as well as Buffalo, because then it's just very uncomfortable.
Wow, that'd be really something if you go into a rink and both teams' fans hate you. You've made it, man. You've made it big if that's the case.
It's look, these are the challenges you got to face in life. Having said all of that, I think it's one of those things where for Buffalo, I can't pick against Buffalo in Banditland in the playoffs until they start losing in the playoffs, and that really hasn't been happening for a few years. So
That's a good point. Yeah. It's funny because they were 6-3 at home in the regular season and 7-2 on the road, and gave up quite a few fewer goals, 23 fewer goals on the road. They also scored fewer goals, but it makes sense. But it is hard, isn't it, to think going against Buffalo, like you said, in that home playoff atmosphere where they can just, Josh Byrne can just go and score 4 goals in 3 minutes and the game turns around. Or Dane Smith, or Buchanan, or Chris Cloutier, or Jay Hogan Antikow if he's back, or Chase Fraser.
Yeah. So also just to give some historical context, Stamper, for the Bandits in the playoffs in the postseason. Here, let me just bring it up. all time, because these are the nuggets that we're always looking for. Their home playoff record all time is 30-10. And their last home playoff loss was Game 3 of the championship final in 2022 against Colorado. And they have only lost 4 home games in Bandit Land, going all the way back to 2007 in the playoffs. So
Wow.
it really does not happen often.
No. So we were both on Buffalo, and then we're looking at Calgary at Halifax. And again, Calgary beat Halifax in a really weird game early in the season. That was like the opener, right? Was it 18-17? I think that one.
Yeah, 17-16 or 18-17.
17-16. Yeah, crazy game. Nick Rose playing well for Calgary. You've got Drew Hutchison will be playing for Halifax. I think, if there's an upset in the first round, maybe this is the most likely one. Partly because I don't think there's an upset to be had in Vancouver, Rochester. The 2 hottest teams. Whoever wins is not a huge surprise. Does Calgary pull it off against Halifax? The first ever playoff game in the Nest in Halifax. That's an interesting one. Oh, it's your turn. You have to pick first.
So for me, I am going to go Halifax with this one. I think the first home playoff game in the Nest, they just had their largest home crowd in history, almost 11,000 fans. It was standing room only, I heard. So very exciting stuff up there. And this team is on a roll. I mean, they do look very formidable right now. So that's going to be very exciting. And also, I just like the kind of behind the scenes story. Who was it? Stephen Keogh had posted back in February that if Halifax hosts a home playoff game, that they will go on to win the NLL Cup. So wouldn't it be nice for us to keep bringing that up for Stephen's sake? A fellow Stephen getting some media attention, I think, is nice.
He's also a PH, Stephen, which is cool.
Yeah. It's interesting when you think about the different variations of Stephen. But yeah, look, I think it's going to be a good game. I think, as we alluded to earlier, is this the year that Nick Rose has a redemption in the playoffs and really steps up? But I think Halifax pulls it off.
Oh, that's a tough one. And I mean, I'm going to go Calgary for the upset. There's got to be one of the lower seeds has to win, maybe more. I'll go with Calgary, but I don't know. Halifax is, again, such an up and down. So is Calgary, right? They're both kind of up and down. They can both just take off on you, and they can both have struggles. I feel like Halifax is probably the safer bet, and I just something in me feels Calgary in this one. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, stick with your gut. I would say always do that. So our first differing pick in the playoffs.
Plus, I came second in the show picking, the season long picking them between this. So that's also pretty good. Top 2.
I see. Greg, are we competing for a playoff mini trophy? I think that's important for us to know as we head into these finals.
I believe that came up during the break, that there would be a trophy for the playoffs that we would know about, because we didn't know about the regular season one.
Okay,
that you now get that
the pressure is on. But yeah, in that next game, Georgia versus Saskatchewan. I mean, I think it's your turn to go first on this one, Stan.
Yeah.
It's gonna be another great game.
It is, and again, Georgia, you just don't know, right, what they're going to do. I mean, what a game we had between these two teams a little while ago. That was a terrific battle when Saskatchewan went into Georgia, and that was actually March 8th, so it was longer ago than I thought. But the 8-7 game, Josh Water was the game-winning goal. It feels like it just happened, but that's quite a game. I just feel like Saskatchewan has been building towards something. And I think, Frank Chiliano is playing very well. And I think that transition game could be really, really critical and drive them to a win. I think Saskatchewan gets this one, their first playoff game in a few years, and first home playoff game for a while.
Yeah, I think that Saskatchewan, they've proven time and time again that is the case. that they are very, very good. They've been building up towards it. Very exciting for them. Really great to see that. Yeah, that game about a month and a half ago really does make this one a little bit more interesting. It also, when we talk about consistency with the Swarm, that consistency is something we need to see from Brett Dobson. Has not been consistent and has not been who many of us expected him to be for a whole season this year. I am going to go Saskatchewan. It's interesting. It looks like we are picking the home teams for this one. But in the playoffs,
you are.
The home crowd. Oh, yeah, that's true. The home crowd really does make a difference. And Saskatchewan, I think, is ready to be an NLL Cup contender.
There you go. So we're going on to the final game of the season of the first round, toward the quarterfinals. And you were just saying you're picking the home teams. So a little back and forth there, but Vancouver at home after their big win on the weekend, and Rochester falling to Toronto by a goal. So you're picking first. I assume you're taking Vancouver and taking all the home teams.
I was going to pick Vancouver regardless if they were playing on the road or at home. They just look so good right now. Christian Del Bianco. We've had this conversation on and off the air about Christian Del Bianco and if he's MVP worthy. It's very interesting. Also notable in the NLL official ballots that Del Bianco is not listed for MVP, but is listed for goaltender of the year. To me, actually makes me feel like he is going to win goaltender of the year, because I think people are want to put more value on the only place where they can put value on him. That's just my overthinking, which I said I wouldn't do.
That's interesting, because I was thinking it would make more sense to me if you won MVP, because playing 6 games, how are you the best goalie of the year? But the turnaround, the 6 straight wins are what got Vancouver into the playoffs. Again, they were 11th when they traded for him and wound up in 4th. So it almost seems reversed to me. But it's about nominations, right? You have to be nominated. Who was nominated for MVP from Vancouver? Hey, Preston. It was Keegan Ball and was Owen Grant?
I believe he was.
Yeah.
But Adam Charlambides might have been on the list as well.
Might have been, yeah.
But and actually, no, sorry, Keegan Ball was on the list. Spelled Keagan. So there you go.
Also, while we're talking minutiae on the ballots, Ty Kurtz from Ottawa was listed for the one award. So I'm not sure whether they meant Ty Kurtz from Albany or Reed Kurtz from Ottawa, but that's it. There are going to be things like that, I guess, happen when you put a ballot together.
Yeah, and so with that being said, are you going with Rochester or Vancouver?
Well, that's a great question. I am actually going to go with Rochester as well, because with Vancouver as well.
Okay.
Because Del Bianco is playing so well. They're feeling so confident. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Rochester has a real chance at winning, but it's just hard to go against that story of Del Bianco with 6 straight wins, continuing to roll and roll. I don't know when we get off that train. Do they win the NLL Cup?
Well, what I said, I forget when I said it, but it was probably now a couple of months ago, or no, about a month ago. I said that the Warriors are really starting to feel like the 2019 Calgary Roughnecks when Del Bianco and the Roughnecks
did
super hot and went on to win the title. I think they won all of their playoff games, including the last 4 or 5 of the regular season, which is very pretty much to now. So
that's eerie.
This is I think Del Bianco right now is the guy who's going to carry them over the edge. And look, I hope that Del Bianco, for my sake as a fan, taking myself away out of myself as a journalist for a second, going to Buffalo this weekend, going to go to Vancouver, also doing Friday Buffalo, Saturday Vancouver. If both of those guys win, that means that I get to see Buffalo and Vancouver go against each other in the second round. And to see 2 games of Christian Del Bianco in the postseason is such a treat for anybody. So can't wait for that.
Good point. So that will do it for our picks for the first round. We're going to wrap up the show, but we've talked about the awards and things. Make sure you're checking out IL Indoor, where our awards are being teased this week as our finalists. We're putting out 3 finalists for each of the 8 awards that we do. We've put a few out already. There's more coming. And, you know, so you get to see who our finalists for MVP, transition player of the year, defensive player of the year, goalie of the year, rookie, GM, coach, unsung hero. Did I miss one? I think that's everybody.
I think
that's them.
So,
yeah. So
you know, I did just want to mention, yep. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna, you go ahead. I think I know what you're going to say.
Well, so I don't know, and I'm going to reach out to someone at the league about this because I am curious. I remember last year when I was voting that the media and people who could vote for executive of the year. It was interesting. I could be wrong on that, but I
think that's right. Yeah.
But this year that wasn't on the ballot.
That's true. That's interesting because that was one I would know, and you have to fill out. You have to vote for everything. You have to put 5.
Yep.
Pick 5 people for each one, and I always felt like I don't know who the executive of the year is.
Right.
Like I'll vote. Like I don't even know. I didn't even recognize all the names, right? Because sometimes people are very behind the scenes. Yeah. Maybe they just thought, hey, why do we have the media voting for these people that they don't really interact with or follow? I think that's fair.
Yeah, which could be why they took it off.
Daddy,
Yes, honey.
Mommy's glasses?
I don't know, honey. You'll have to find them. Maybe go on a hunt. Can you go on a hunt and find them? Preston is searching for Nikki's glasses.
Okay.
In the house. So
I guess no point sending Nikki to look
found the glasses. Right? You found them.
Nice hunting there, Preston.
Yep. So Preston is off of school the first 2 days of this week. Parent-teacher conference. We heard some very interesting news. Apparently, that Preston was telling his teachers that he went to Paris, France, for spring break, which is news to Nikki.
Wow.
So
you got to keep better tabs on that kid.
Yeah,
he's just jetting off.
That's impressive. He travels more than you. Wow, I didn't know if anybody did that.
So, I was in Paris yesterday.
Oh man, that's what it was. He was living vicariously through you, Stamper. He knew it. He's like, I just know I can feel the pull. We might have to record it again though, but the recording's fun. We get a little bit more banter. Charity doesn't mind talking so much when it's not live on YouTube. My mom actually
that's
came.
Why she's been yammering back there.
And then I just had to disappear to go. My mom dropped off soup and the dogs got out in the yard, so I just had to go get all them because she said you guys said something about the trophy, which yes we will. I will get the Blue Squatch cups up and ready to roll. We'll have them for next week. And yeah, again, thanks so much guys for this. I love it.
Hey, thank you. It's been a great show, and enjoy everyone wherever you are. And we'll talk to you all soon on ITWOBL.